Good morning, Vivit leaders from the EMEAs and APJ. Welcome at our first quarterly meeting of 2013. I will wait a couple of seconds for people to join us. Sometimes everyone hops up at the last moment, so just wait some seconds here. Well, I think it's time to get started based on the number of topics I would like to discuss with you. First of all, it's always good to know that this meeting was a group effort, and it was prepared by Susan, Stephanie, Laura, and myself, Martijn Stuyver. I'm responsible globally within Vivit for the chapters and special interest groups. This morning I've got Stephanie with me. Stephanie, could you say hi?
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Well, what I would like to do this morning is, first of all, go through some housekeeping things which are important for this session, which means that this session is also recorded, and it would also be available on our website within the Vivit Leader area for you to watch, especially if you are, for example, also very interested in the different links provided in this presentation. You could also use the slide set, which will be available in PDF later on our website. Let's just keep it as interactive as possible. And I would like you to invite to using the Q&A part of GoToMeeting. It's very easy. Some of you already have a lot of experience with it based on your own events, but just to remind you that you can type all kinds of questions in the chat area within this control as shown on this slide. It's quite easy. It's in the corner of your screen. Just put up some questions there in the question pane, and when we move along, we will on a temporary basis frequently look at the questions and try to address them immediately. Well, thank you very much for joining this morning. The agenda for today is to briefly touch some new interesting subjects, interesting for you, but also very interesting for your members. First of all, I would like to go and mention some new stats about Vivit with you, which is also due to your success, which is actually also the success of Vivit. We would also like to touch base on the increased engagement with different kind of HP organizations, especially HP marketing and the Expert One community. I would like to update you on some leader training initiatives which we will be conducting this year. I would also like to share some tips and tricks, or let's say some interesting concerns for you during your events or in the preparation of your events. I would like to touch base with you on some Vivit updates about BrightTalk and the Knock a Little Louder campaign. I would also like to have your attention for the award nominations, which will be coming up for the Americas, and last but not least, the advanced training for HP Discover in Las Vegas, as it is organized at this moment. And also I would like to share some and share some minutes with you on questions and perhaps some feedback on the conference, the HP Discovery Conference in EMEA last year, which was conducted in Frankfurt. Well, before we go on to some interesting new updates about the Vivit organization, I would also like to share with you some interesting new stats. Meaning that actually we are a little bit of now in a kind of a guessing period, meaning that if you are familiar with the marketing program of Jeffrey Moore, at this moment we are heavily growing internationally in the EMEAs, but certainly also in APJ. And it's yeah, thank you for your efforts in getting us growing internationally, meaning that at this moment we have more than 40,000 members and still going strong, more than 73 chapters in more than 22 countries. And we've got more than 15 special interest groups. What is also interesting is that we see some new developments going on, meaning more virtual events on one side, but also more local city events on the other side. And at the same time, there's more interest and cooperation and engagement with the HP organization about engaging with the Vivit community. And some real good examples will also be shared within this session, within this hour. What also is good to know is that there are some new figures available on the job level and experiences within our member community. On one side, you see that not only we are talking and cooperating with our members, which are on operational level, operating and maintaining the different HP solutions, but that also based on the years we are already available, that a lot of our leaders and members have grown to new positions in decision making as part of decision-making units, meaning manager level, sometimes director level. This means that also for the food of the conversation, as you know, we launched the special interest groups around IT changes topics, also to provide the decision makers and management members within our community with the right topics and the right conversations. At the same time, what we also notice is that we have not only a lot of new members, but also a lot of members which have a lot of experience with HP software applications and solutions. 60% have used HP software more than 5 years already. Well, let's say I think that's a good thing, meaning that if we can leverage on their expertise and their knowledge, we have a lot of interesting resources available in which we can get the conversation going about how to optimize HP solutions for the best usage in every context, in every organization, as much as possible. So it's also a big thank you to you, which why I'm sharing this. It means that we're growing rapidly, and that's also based on your effort and your commitment. So I will say there's a big thank you for all of your efforts. As earlier mentioned, what a new and a new second topic is the HP partnership around Vivit. It used to be the case that new HP users or customers were not really aware of the Vivit community. Nowadays, people get links or are being notified when they buy new solutions that there is a user community like Vivit. So that's one of the examples in which HP is really also trying to leverage on sharing the knowledge and building up and supporting us with building up a community around HP solutions. Based on our growth as well as our mutual interests, there are some new initiatives launched, especially with HP Marketing and Expert One. And it's good for you as a leader to know what it really means. Actually, what it means is that probably HP Marketing and Expert One within your country or within your region might be contacting you very soon. And the question is, are you ready for that? Well, why is HP engaging with our community? Well, it's a very interesting and a very good channel for them. It's unbiased. It's an open two-way communication channel in which they get honest and a good feedback on their solutions and their services. Second of all, also, it's about easy engagement. So there are already running a lot of discussions and conversations. So it's easy for HP Marketing or HP Expert One to join and also come up and launch some new topics and enrich the discussion which is already running. What is also very interesting for them is also understanding what it really means to use their solution and services. Our discussions within Vivit are most of the time always about real user experiences. So that's not only about success stories, but certainly also about pitfalls or about some setbacks, which is very interesting and will gain some interesting learning experiences for all parties involved. And that's also based on and related to our advocacy target and objective within Vivit, which means that based on these discussions and conversations, it's interesting for them to get some real feedback and some valuable feedback about how those solutions are perceived or how those solutions and services could be improved for our community. It's also about building relationships, as nowadays with all the social media going on and the long-term and long-distance relationships, I think one-on-one relationships and trying to know each other is still very important in doing business, as well as sharing experiences and sharing knowledge about what different users are facing, or what challenges they are facing, or what opportunities they see for future improvement. And last but not least, I think Vivit is also a very good channel to launch software updates, new versions, or to just talk about the latest versions. It could be a good customer story, but it could also be more about what are the disadvantages and the advantages. There are a lot of examples already of those kind of conversations also available on our website, as you know. So that makes it very interesting also for HP to interact with us. Well, what does it mean for you? What does it mean for us? Well, what it means for us is that at least what you should do is, or what you should do is that your contact information is always up to date on your website. Who's the leader? What is your chapter about? And it's also important to get ready for building a kind of a relationship, because it's a two-way win-win situation in which you can also cooperate together with HP on, for example, brainstorming about topics, brainstorming about possible speakers for your venues or events. It could also mean that perhaps some local HP Marketing or Expert One community representatives would like to sponsor your event. It could be virtually, it could be locally, it could be only sponsoring the catering, but and that makes it probably good for you also to notice is that there is really a win-win situation if we just could cooperate with them on a local level and trying to group and to combine our members with their members and trying really to focus on this knowledge transfer and sharing the experiences within our community. Well, what we will do also for you is that what we already have done is having launched a training session. So I just highlighted here a kind of a high-level approach, but it's really important for you to watch the training if you didn't have the opportunity to join us last Friday. But please watch the training presented by Laura, in which also Rocky shared a lot of his experiences with the interaction with different kind of HP groups and organizations. So please go to that training session, and there's more information available in that session about how to cooperate with partners as well as HP representatives. Last but not least, what is very important to know is that your Vivit chapter or your special interest group is being led by you. That means is that you are also a kind of a gatekeeper, or should be a kind of a gatekeeper, on what is happening and how the events are being launched. It's important to maintain the unbiased, trusted channel as we are, to maintain the open communication, to maintain the real conversation about knowledge transfer and sharing experiences. So be confident that you are and that you will be a gatekeeper. And if you need more assistance, or if you would like to brainstorm after you have been contacted with local HP organization representatives, you could contact our big three within our Vivit staff, Susan, Rocky, or Stephanie, about how to cooperate with different HP groups. So we are very committed also to make you learn on what the best practices are, but not only based on the training sessions available, there's also staff available which you can interact with if you feel a little bit uncertain on how to respond to an approach. That's no problem. And last but not least, we will also will organize and host some introduction sessions. So after we have finished our discussions with the HP marketing groups and also the Expert One groups, we will also host some introduction sessions to our leader community to make sure you feel comfortable on what they are doing and why they might contact you on short notice. Well, that's about the interaction with HP Marketing and HP Expert One. Stephanie, could you find out if there are any questions yet?
There's no questions yet. If you do have a question, please feel free to type it in the questions pane. We can see it, or you can raise your hand and we can unmute you. So, but there's none at this time.
Well, that sounds great. So we have the training session, we have the Vivit staff available, and we will organize introduction sessions for you on how to cooperate with HP Marketing. And let's say we are very exciting that we will be getting also their support and that we will be cooperating more and more, and we see there a very valuable cooperation for future purposes, also not only growing our community, but also some sponsor opportunities, as well as growing based on working together on real interesting topics and trying to acquire or trying to organize some very interesting speakers for our virtual as well as our local events. Some other leader initiatives. What we will be launching is different kind of training initiatives, as we have been doing last week. that will mean we will start launching monthly training sessions. That could be a live session, it could be a recorded session, but what is very important is that we will try to leverage also a little bit on our resources on one side, meaning that we have more group sessions available at one side, and on the other side we would like to use these training sessions to get you comfortable with new developments, to get you comfortable with areas growing, but also sharing some tips and tricks and some knowledge experience about organizing events, virtual as well as locally. So the first training was already conducted, which was about the HP partnership and what we could expect from local HP marketing representatives and Expert One representatives contacting you. But we will also host new sessions about how to use the website, how to grow your chapter. And what I also would like to ask you is if you know of any topics you would like to learn or you would like to have a kind of training sessions on, please let us know. If there is a question available after this webinar in which you could already send us over some ideas about future training sessions, and these training sessions are not for us as Vivit staff, but those training sessions should be valuable for you. So please take the opportunity at the end of this session to fill up some ideas you have about those kind of training sessions. And as soon as we have scheduled the next training sessions for the coming month, we will let you know, and we will notify you about the different topics as well as the dates and time frames. So keep mark of your agenda in your email box, and we will also notify and we'll let it know via our Vivit newsletter. So this is one of the initiatives which we will be launching for you as a leader this year. Then I would like to talk with you a little bit more about some small tips and tricks. Those are based on what we noticed speaking with leaders during the last conference, as well as speaking with leaders setting up new chapters or running current chapters, is that there are some best practices or some advices or suggestions we would like to give you. It is not only good for us as an organization to have some of the data available or learning more on what is happening or what the wishes are of every chapter and special interest groups, but it's also about supporting you with growing your chapter or making it easier to launch next events. As you all know, a chapter or a special interest group should at least provide 2 virtual or 2 local sessions per year, and those tips and tricks listed over here are there for you to help you out on making it more and more easier to organize those kind of events. What we noticed is that the group page is not always used very frequently or very well. So what we like to urge you to do is just start using it. Although perhaps you might be a young chapter with only 10 members, it's always good to see and notify within our infrastructure to your members what is happening. You could notify them on an interesting presentation held in another chapter and available on this website. You could talk about perhaps some discounts on education or next chapters, but you could also just notify them by your group page regarding the next events. Or what you also could do is, which might be interesting, you could just also try to interact with them in possible next topics for your events. So please use the website as good as possible, and if you have any ideas also for some improvements on that part, please let us know. The website is there for you to support you in organizing and hosting events. What also is good to do is afterwards is to share your presentation. That's not only for your own members, but it's also sometimes interesting to refer your own members to presentations held in other chapters or special interest groups. Or what I, for example, did one time is I just refer to another chapter presentation and then use that presentation as a kind of a topic to talk about in a next event. So it's quite easy to use the material already there to provide or use it also for conversations within your own groups. And be also smart with using the marketing equipment within the website. Hey, you could notify your members, but also think of other ways of promoting your events, like using social media, using Twitter, using LinkedIn, or perhaps using your newsletter. And of course, you could also arrange an email blast when necessary and provided. And that could be arranged together with our staff, because what we always want to do is, of course, is that our members are not going to be let's say harassed with all kinds of emails on a daily basis. So we also have a kind of an editorial calendar for these kind of email messages. So there's a lot of different things for you there in which you could interact with your members, as well as notify or remind them of future events or very good new material which is available on the website. What is also used more and more, and which is quite interesting, is to use questionnaires, especially virtual, but also, of course, locally in your meeting and after your meeting. You could use it in your meeting to try to get some results there about, for example, is this a new development? Is everyone have the same perception about this problem or not, which is quite interesting then to show in the webinar or in the meeting itself. What you also could do, of course, is arrange a kind of questionnaire within our website after your local or virtual events. So sometimes some people need to chew on what they've experienced locally and virtual. So it could be directly after your meeting, but you could also use it when your meeting is already conducted, let's say a week after your meeting, that you can at least do it virtually. And also what a very good idea is to do is that you involve proposing new topics for your next events, that you also make that a kind of a subject of your questionnaire after your last event. Most of the time the discussions and the conversations are pretty hot during an event. So best practices are that you get a lot of interesting ideas for new topics during events or just after your events. Instead of brainstorming about them, let's say a couple of months after your last events, then sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to come up with real new interesting subjects than during an event or just after an event. More of these kind of tips and tricks or slides that you could reuse or event checklists are available on our website. I would also like to remind you on the group page available. If you go to your profile within the Vivit website, just press My Groups, and within your My Groups, the top groups on your page is always the chapter and leader group. So if you click on that page, there's a lot of information there available which you could use for your events starting up, but also improving them.
Martin, we have a question.
Yep. Yes.
It's from Andreas.
Yes.
Will there be a chance to have a wiki available for Chapter SIG internal communication and knowledge sharing?
Okay, a kind of a wiki page available on the how-to-dos for organizing events. It's an interesting thought, Andreas. We could look into that if it's possible. At this moment, there is already a lot of materials available within the website, but actually what you would like to see is a kind of a subscription per topic probably, or a kind of a knowledge base. But that's interesting, interesting thought, Andreas. We will certainly keep it on our list and try to find out what is possible there. Perhaps you already know what is possible, Stephanie?
Right. Currently, it is not available, but I'm going to inquire with our content manager and see what we can do about that, and I'll let all the leaders know once I can get an answer.
Yeah, sounds great. Good idea, Andreas. Just keep those ideas coming. Thank you. Well, another update I would like to give is that we are also looking into some new channel opportunities. This channel is being called BrightTalk. BrightTalk is a channel on the internet which is capable of providing us two kinds of channels, which is a private channel, meaning a channel only for Vivit members, but it gives us also the opportunity to interact with other channels available. And they call it, let's say, the syndication opportunities, which means is that a part of our presentations we could reuse in HP, in the HP channel, because HP also has a channel on this site. But you could also think about other general channels already available on this website, like for example about IT service management, about cloud computing, or about application lifecycle management, which is quite interesting. It will not only draw some more attention for you as a leader, but it also will provide us hopefully some new members here. Last but not least, it is a very good new channel, meaning that it's very easy to use for our staff as well as for you. It's easy also to store different kind of recordings, because now they are recorded, they have to be modified, they have to be copied on a separate instance, and then they have to be uploaded again to a website, which is quite resource intensive. It's also more robust than GoToMeeting. We have, hopefully you didn't have too much experience with it, but let's say our Vivit staff has some experience with GoToMeeting problems during meetings. So it is more a robust solution. There is also more embedding possibilities, so we can just embed the different kind of presentation or recorded sessions on this website and just link it to our website and embed it in our look and feel within the Vivit content, which is quite interesting to do. And it's a growing new platform. Although, of course, we will not go over and immediately push this new channel for all our presentations and demonstrations. What we will do is we will launch a pilot for 3 months for the coming month and trying to figure out what the pros and cons are of this channel based on real-life experiences. Is it really so robust as mentioned? Are the marketing initiatives really interesting for us, and etc. So that means that some of the presentations which will be held within the next couple of months, for example, about the business intelligence part, will be organized by means of BrightTalk. And that's good to know. You could already take a look at what BrightTalk actually really means. I can put up a website. once you have recorded a BrightTalk, you can, for example, see here a Vivit channel in which you can open and see the different kind of recordings available on the Vivit channel. You can see the HP software partner part on this channel, but as mentioned, there are already also a lot of other interesting channels here in which we can try to cooperate with based on content, or in which we can also cooperate on submits they are organizing. So this is to inform you that we will be using BrightTalk in our pilot for the next couple of months. It looks very interesting for us and a real improvement for all of us, but we want to make sure that we really capture all the pros and cons about BrightTalk. This is to update you about the BrightTalk pilot project. The second, another campaign which will be running is a campaign which is very important for us. That's about the right registration, about updating profiles. As you might know, is for our sponsorships and for with HP or partners, it's very, very important for us to have good data available. That means that although we are very concerned and never really sharing names and lists, we should being able to make real good stats about how many members we have, but how many members are really engaging. So that's very interesting stats for us, and stats we could share to secure our continuity. Based on sponsorships, based on organizing new events, based on future developments. So this Knock a Little Louder campaign is not only to draw attention to potential new members, but also drawing attention to you as a leader, but also to your members to get registered the right way, to have up-to-date profiles so that we can really learn on the latest and greatest developments within our community. And we stuck an interesting price to it, which is some really nice headphones. So there will be some prize drawings also taking place March 1st, April 1st, and May 1st. So we will really appreciate it if you could also notify your members that it's important to have up-to-date profiles for the Vivit organization and for future developments. Any questions, Stephanie, so far on the Knock a Little Louder campaign as well as the BrightTalk channel initiative?
No questions at the moment here.
Okay.
We have a leader who has some great experience with webinars and has lent his knowledge to us, David Hunt. So he's sharing a link and some information here. So thank you very much, David.
Okay. And you mean experiences about BrightTalk or?
Webinars in general.
Yeah,
he's
okay.
written himself. Great. So great. Lots of tips and greatly appreciated. So we'll take those.
Great. Yes. We will make them. We will review them and make them available on the Vivit Leader part of our website. And if there is any opportunity to start a kind of a wiki page, we can also use it there. Thank you very much. Well, the award nominations are also coming up for the Americas. As you know, in the EMEAs, based on the conference or based on the communications, we had different prize winners. We had Ollie as Leader of the Year, chosen Stephen as Champion of the Year, and Mihai as Speaker of the Year. We will also maintain these awards for the Americas, which will be, or which is already launched and now available. So although you have sometimes less experiences with the America Leader Champions or speakers, but some of you I know are also visiting presentations or cooperating on a special interest group area with leaders and champions in America. And the Leader of the Year award is actually a leader-only award, which is someone, about someone who really growed their chapter and really served their chapter in community building, but also in knowledge experiences, and has a positive impact on the growth of this chapter or special interest group in the last year. The champion is a leader as well as a partner award. It could also be someone from a partner perspective which did outstanding efforts in advancing and growing the Vivit community. It could be growing and supporting certain events. It could be providing leadership to and providing speakers to different venues. So this is also an award for people who did more for the total Vivit community. And last but not least, the Speaker of the Year award. It is interesting and good to honor our speakers, which are people who are very willing and very capable of spreading their knowledge, and most of the time also speaking at a venue we all know takes a lot of preparation and some hard work. So and by also having this award available, we would also like to encourage members to become speakers and to make their knowledge and their talents available for everyone. This nomination round will be will end April 26th. So if you guys know of any good leader, champions, or speakers for the Americas, please vote. And of course, the award will be presented at HP Discover in Las Vegas on June the 11th to 13th. So be careful there. This date has been changed this week. So the Discover in Las Vegas is between June 11th and June 13th. These are the advanced training sessions we'll be launching at Las Vegas. We already have a lot of them coming up, and as soon as also the website about HP Discover Las Vegas will be available, we can start getting the registration progress going. But these 4-hour deep dive courses are now available around ALM, data protection, interesting deep dive in VMware monitoring, as well as operations manager. So here are some very interesting topics there. Please also notify your members about these kind of advanced training sessions. Most of the time they're really very valuable, and there's a lot of stuff and knowledge available for a pretty cheap price. As soon as the HP Discover registration is available, members could register for this kind of training for only $99, just to make sure that people are really showing up. We are now using for the Americas a fee being available at this training. And what the nice thing, of course, is that it's not only a fee for conducting the training and getting to know some real knowledge and experiences or share them with your peers, but it's also supporting the Vivit organization. So let's say it's also a fee for a good cause. Also good to know is, of course, that as soon as the registration is up, there's still also for Las Vegas, again, the discount available as a Vivit member. You get $300 off of the HP Discover admission price, which is very nice. Well, I think we're almost there. We all already started about 45 minutes ago. Are there any questions based on the topics addressed within this presentation?
Okay. I don't see any other questions coming in.
Then I've got a special question for our EMEA leaders, especially about the conference in Frankfurt. If you have any ideas about some improvements, or if you would like to give us some feedback on this conference, please do.
And Martine, it looks like there's been a, this is from David Hunt, he says there's another training course for HP Discover, it looks like, Next Generation Test Automation, given by Infuse Consulting too. That's just been recently added.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, it's probably not yet on our website. I just picked it up from our website yesterday, so it should be pretty fresh and new. So that's quite it's quite interesting, and that's very good. Thank you for addressing that to us.
He said he booked it yesterday. Thanks, David.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
It's hot off the press.
Yes. Thank you very
Thanks,
much, David. Thank you very much. Are there any leaders who would like to give us some ideas or some feedback also on the EMEA conference? For example, what I noticed is, to be honest, the training sessions were had a location within the Frankfurt Conference Center, which was a little bit difficult to look for. So we already had that in mind. But perhaps you also have some other ideas or clues about the conference you would like to share?
While we're waiting for more questions to come in, we have another one from Andreas. He wants to know, how can we learn in advance when Vivit worldwide webinars are planned that are relevant for the special interest groups? And then he says, could we also support the webinar marketing within our SIG?
Well, let's say the different kind of webinars are already available on a website. We've got now two kind of medium available for that. We've got the newsletter, in which the upcomings are webinars are available, and we've got our editorial calendar. So probably Andreas is looking for another option, or thinking about another option.
Andreas, let's see, I don't know if I can unmute you.
Yeah, just unmute him.
Andreas, I'm going to try to unmute you here, see if we can hear you. If you have, Andreas, if you could type in an audio pin, just hit #5# on your phone, and then I should be able to unmute you. Let's see. I may not be able to unmute him here. Okay. I'll keep a watch out for his audio control thing coming in, see if I can get him. Okay, I can't unmute him right now.
Okay.
So, okay.
Well, we touched then based on a later instance, or you can share your ideas in our short survey after this meeting. But I'm very interested to learn what you're thinking about. Perhaps you're thinking about an automatic way of being notified about a particular subject from a particular special interest group. But just let us know, and we will dive into what the possibilities are. Any other questions or remarks so far?
I don't see any other questions right now.
Well, in that case, I would like to point out that we have prepared, again, a very short survey after this meeting, just to give us some feedback about this presentation, but also about possible topics for future future sessions. As I want to stress again, these kind of sessions are made specially and are available specially for you. So if there are some special topics we should cover, please let us know and we will prepare them for our next meeting. Well, thank you very much for joining. No questions, Stephanie?
I don't see any more at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think we're...
Well, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you very much for all of your hard work and commitment. And we love to see you at our next training sessions or next quarterly meeting. And stay tuned for updates about the cooperation with HP organization. Stay tuned for the BrightTalk updates. And if you have any questions, also just notify us and we will try to answer them as soon as possible. Thank you very much again and enjoy your day.